Good evening. This is our Sunday evening video for the 25th of April, 2021 from Park Street Christian Church in El Dorado Springs, Missouri. I'm Pastor Steve Altide. I want to share tonight briefly on the topic of being absolutely essential. This was written by an acquaintance, former schoolmate of mine named Barry Cameron, who preaches in the greater Dallas, Texas area. And he writes about Jack Graham's new book, Reignite, Fresh Focus for an Enduring Faith. It's a good book. I'd recommend Reignite, Fresh Focus for an Enduring Faith by Dr. Jack Graham. He wrote these lines: I was absent-mindedly flipping channels waiting for both baseball games I was watching to come back from commercial break when I caught sight of a pack of elephants tromping through the tall grass of an African savanna, looking delighted to be enjoying the sunshine and warmth. But the ominous music track cued me that something nefarious was afoot. Baseball or not, I had to stick around to find out what was about to go down. Of the dozen or so elephants on the screen, 2 were calves, and as the throng made its way across the plains, those babies would tuck themselves away in the center of the group. But when their herd stopped to graze, a flock of white birds scuttled around on the ground and caught one of the calf's attention, and off the little guy went in search of the chase, pining for some adventure, craving a taste of independence from his group. A few minutes later, after the birds took to the air once more, the baby elephant realized how far he had roamed from the pack. He stuck his little trunk up in the air and blew a weak, stuttering trumpet, which was likely what alerted the nearby pride of lions that dinner was about to be served. As that elephant herd started moving again, the calf bumbled his way back toward the fold, but before he could get there, the lions made their move. Now the music really got intense as a bulking bull elephant ran frantically around the herd, trumpeting warnings and kicking up dust. The calf's mama made a beeline for her baby while seemingly yelling at the other mamas to gather around. The big bull elephant squared off against the lions as the females stood their ground, and in the end the lions retreated, figuring they'd go pick an easier fight. The calf was spared, the herd safe, and the elephants continued on their path. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8 warns us, your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion seeking someone to devour. A little over a year ago now, millions of people who used to be involved in their local church suddenly found themselves isolated and alone. And the result has been catastrophic globally, physically, maritally, mentally, emotionally, financially, and most of all, spiritually. Our government said our churches are not essential and shut them down, at least from meeting physically. In some places, they're still limited in meeting, even today, over a year later. But the resilience of Christ Church to bounce back from that ruling and still be able to provide music, worship ministry, and connection for people all the world is absolutely amazing. However, the devil's damage has been done and the ramifications are still ongoing. Dr. Jack Graham said, when we isolate and insulate and cut ourselves off from the protection God's ordained for us, we make ourselves needlessly vulnerable to attack. We give Satan ground we may never get back. So friends, the reason I'm sharing this tonight is to remind you that the truth is the church is absolutely essential. We need the church. All of us do, all the time. Because we are in a real world war with a real enemy, and like the baby elephant, when we're alone, we are most vulnerable. We need each other way more than we could ever possibly know and understand. Something powerful and supernatural happens every time we gather as a church family, whether it's in a corporate worship setting on Sundays or in a small group during the week. The devil knows that and that's why he does everything he can to discourage us, distract us, and drag us away. So I'm going to encourage you, friends, who are watching this video, to get a copy of Dr. Jack Graham's book. And again, the title is Reignite, Finding Fresh Focus for an Enduring Faith. Reignite, Fresh Focus for an Enduring Faith. pick it up or order it at your local Christian bookstore or online from Amazon. But I would encourage you to get this book. Reignite, Fresh Focus for an Enduring Faith by Dr. Jack Graham, and it's published by Bethany House Publishers. Now, the second thing I would encourage you to do, and the most important thing, and Dr. Jack Graham would admit, is for you to get back in church if you're not right now attending where you're at. Don't make any more excuses. Don't let the devil get involved in this any more than he already has. And if you weren't going to church beforehand, you desperately need to anyway. You need to find a church family. And again, if you have trouble locating one or know which one to go to wherever you're living, if you will send me a text at 660-342-3068, and I'll be glad to try to help you find one in your community if you don't live here in the El Dorado Springs, Missouri area. But it's essential that you get involved with other Christians in a local church family. You need their encouragement. They need you. We all need the church, and your church needs you. So I would challenge you once again to stop making excuses now and get involved in church. No, you're not going to find a perfect church where you live. One does not exist, okay? So don't let the devil use that excuse any longer to keep you out of church and involvement. You're always going to be able to find problems with the local church. It's inevitable because every single part of it is imperfect, okay? You've got to get involved in one. Despite its shortcomings, you need to be involved, and especially in these days of chaos and turmoil in our culture, there is just so much the devil is involved in right now in our nation, in our culture. You need to get committed to and connected with a local church family. Thanks for joining me from your home or office tonight for this video from Park Street Christian Church in El Dorado Springs, Missouri. I'm Pastor Steve Altide. Have a good night.